very hard. I am concerned that we need to continue to stay vigilant against attempts by Russia and most especially China to exploit the suffering of our neighbors to the south to increase their influence in the region. Admiral Faller, in your posture statement, you stated that China and Russia are using the COVID-19 pandemic to gain greater influence in South America. Can you explain how that is occurring, and what would you recommend the United States do to maintain American influence in the region in the face of that public health threat during that time?
The conditions that the pandemic has caused in Latin America and the Caribbean rival those of the Great Depression here in the United States. It will take years for the region to cover. The IMF says it has estimated it is the region with the longest recovery time. We have seen, and there was a New York Times article today on this, China particularly move in with a heavy-handed mask and vaccine diplomacy, that they are using the vaccines to leverage deals for their IT, their 5G, and they're using it to try to drive a wedge between some nations like Taiwan and others in the region. This is indicative of Chinese global coercive insidious behavior. We're seeing it play out. We need to stay on the field with a whole government effort, and once we've taken care of the United States, be first with a concerted plan to take care of our neighborhood with vaccines here.
I hear you saying that we need a much more aggressive and, frankly, humanitarian effort in this part of the world, our neighboring region, in fact, part of the Western Hemisphere family, to take care of people in our own enlightened self-interest.
Senator, to date, I've been very proud of the U.S. government effort in PPE and other COVID-related supplies. We're not taking much credit for it, but by far and away the single largest donor in this hemisphere, and in the Department of Defense, using our humanitarian assistance authorities, we moved out with small projects at speed, over 400 projects, $54 million that have made a real impact. But the next phase is going to be in vaccines and long-term recovery, and we've got to be as aggressive and forward-leaning in that phase, I would say particularly in this hemisphere, because the proximity here matters to the security of the United States.
And it's not only a public health crisis, it's really a very deep-seated economic crisis linked to the pandemic, I hear you saying.
Senator, in October, I traveled with my civilian deputy commander, Ambassador Gene Maines, a wonderful diplomat, great civ-mil relationship in our headquarters. We went on our first multiple-day trip. We traveled to Central America, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Costa Rica, and the hollow look in the eyes of our partners. They're struggling to fill their gas tanks and find food for their security forces because of the stress the pandemic and the violence has placed. And this creates real opportunities for our competitors who are more than willing to step into that violent sauce and take advantage of it for their own interests.
And it has ramifications in terms of generating flows of migrants, the drug trade, all kinds of other ramifications that are destructive to our country, potentially.
Yes, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. Senator Cotton, please.